So I'm gonna finish off this part. I'm not gonna lie, this part is probably gonna be the last part. Why? Well, because that's simple. I don't know. I'll just make it 3 parts. Somebody wanted it to be 3 parts, so I'll make it 3 parts. I don't know if I could make it longer because, well, I'm really not trying to get like into like the main things that have happened inside of the anime. But sadly, looks like I have to. But anyways, yeah, let's see how long this goes. Okay. So basically, we skipped to actually the meeting. So yeah, it's time for the meeting for all the heads. Now, Kuan Yin's not representing the gods or anything. She's just there, well, for the fun of it, and because she wants to show off her husband. So yeah. So basically, you know, is basically she goes there and everybody, well, sits down and stuff like that. As Ray, he starts being as arrogant as ever and points at Kuan Yin, saying, "Who's that woman right there? And why is she so beautiful? She belongs to me." As basically, you know, as basically Zek says, "Well, Ray, watch your mouth. That woman right there is Goddess Kuan Yin of Chinese mythology. You anger her, there's nothing we can do to save you." As Ray, being as arrogant as ever, due to Reyes and friends, except for Kiba, and Konoko, just, yeah, right, she's probably just a weakling, probably an envoy. As Issei says, I don't take kindly to you bad-mouthing my wife. I'd like you to stop immediately. As immediately, a spark of power spikes from Issei, just looking at Ray, which frightens Ray, and he says, "As if you can do anything to me, you're just a weakling." As Issei, he says, "Alright, that's enough." As he takes the hood off, as Kuan Yin, she says, "Are you sure about this?" As Issei says, "It doesn't matter whether I decided to do it now or later. They were gonna find out anyways. Well, not on their own, that is. I honestly don't care." As Zek says, "So you're gonna, well, put yourself back into this world, huh?" As Issei says, "I think my name has been spread around long enough. I mean, I made sure it didn't get spread around to, well, here. But everywhere throughout the multiverse, yeah, they definitely know about me." So, yeah. So basically, as Ray says, "Who the hell are you?" As Issei, he says, "Ah, right. I forgot to introduce myself. Let me reintroduce myself to you. I'm Issei Hyodo, the guy you supposedly framed saying I gave up in that fight." As Ray, he starts laughing and says, "Oh wow, to think it was you, you loser." As Ria says, "Issei, how dare you be over there? Get over here now!" Thinking that her evil pieces are still in effect, as Issei, by no means, stands and says, "I think you've gotten out of hand, 'cause I think you've forgotten your place. You may be the Demon King's daughter, no, sister, but you're nowhere near my power. So if I were you, I'd prostrate myself." As immediately, well, a strong pressure would be put on Rias, as she says, "How dare you? You're my servant. You're my pawn." As Issei says, "Funny thing, I have no pawn pieces within my body." As Rias says, "That's impossible. If you took them out, you'd be dead." As Kuan Yin said, "That's incorrect." As Issei says, "Well, she doesn't need to know about that." Where was I? Right. I forgot my hair. As Kuan Yin says, "Are you going to release it?" As Issei says, "Yeah, it's quite boring. After all, I quite like my long hair." As Ray says, "You damn weakling." As he says, "Damn it, you goddamn dragon. Work." As Drake suddenly appears on his hand, as Issa says, "Ah, Drake, you're finally out." As Drake, he says, partner? As Issei, he smiles at Drake as he says, yeah, long time no see, Drake. As Drake, even though he can't really show emotions, he sounds as if he's crying and says, yeah, it's good to be back, but sadly, I can't leave. As Issei says, such a thing is impossible. Who said you had no choice but to stay with him? As he snaps his fingers, as Drake starts to fade away from, well, Ray's hand. As Ray sees this, and he says, "What the hell are you doing?" As he lunges at, well, Issei, trying to attack him, but, well, he's too slow. As basically, Issei's hair is done growing to its full length. As Issei says, that's better. As suddenly, Drake appears on Issei's hand. As Drake says, how? As Issei says, well, it doesn't matter. As Issei says, I think a gauntlet wouldn't suit you. I already have armor. As he says, that's it. As he snaps his finger as Drake starts transforming into the spear you see in the back. Now, it's a spear that can transform into a staff and a scythe. So, yeah, and a trident. So, and he chooses the scythe because somebody wanted me to use a scythe as well. As he proceeds to fight Ray. Now, he comes close to, well, killing Ray multiple times. But he goes even slower every time he's close. And Ray doesn't notice that he's close to death every time. He just thinks that, Issei is just weak. He's incapable of killing him. And that's when Issei got tired of him after Ray said something that was completely inappropriate. As a matter of fact, it angered him more than inappropriate. As Ray says, "Goddamn weakling, after I kill you, that woman of yours is gonna be mine." As Issei proceeds to say, I'm getting really tired of you. I think you've had your fun enough. As Issei, with a fast and silent slash, took Ray's head off. As Ray is still alive, but he's wondering, what the hell? Impossible. As Issei says, Kuan Yin searched through his memories. As he throws the head towards Kuan Yin, which Kuan Yin, unwantingly, had to take the head, says, you could have at least knocked him out. As Issei says, nope, I want to see his shameful face when all his memories are revealed. As Kuan Yin says, so you would like me to project it. As he says yes. As basically Kuan Yin, proceeds to, show his, memories. He proceeds to show his memories to the Parage and stuff like that, showing his true intentions. He was going to make Rias sexual slave. Yeah, that seems appropriate to say. Yeah, a sexual slave. Make her his sexual slave, same as Kano and stuff like that, and the girls. Now, Zenobia is a part of Jessica. She wasn't there when Issei was there, so she's not really worried about anything. So, her hearing this, she's infuriated by this and angered even more nonetheless. So everybody in the rooms has a projection of the room, and Sir Zex is severely infuriated by this. Because not only has he hurt Issei, but he plans to hurt his family, and he's also pissed at Rias. As he goes up to Rias, thinking that he's coming to comfort her, puts out her hands and smiles so she can get comforted. But to her surprise, she gets slapped. As Rias says, brother? As Sir Zex looks at her with an infuriated and disgusted look in his eyes, and he says, how dare you do this to our family? If it wasn't for Issei here, our family would have been ruined by you. You and your Parage disgust me. As Issei says, whoa there, Sir Zex, you don't have to go that hard on them. Well, at least 3 to be exact. As he points at Zenobia, Kiba, and, Konoko. As Sir Zex says, what is your reasoning? As he says, first of all, Kiba never really cared about Rei. He already knew what Rei's intentions were. Same goes for Konoko. She may be young, but she's a quick learner. She catches on quick. Probably Feline's intuition, as Konoko's eyes widen as she pounces at, Issei, and she says, "How do you know about that?" As Issei says, "Whoa there, Konoko, calm down." As Konoko gets patted on the head, and, cat instincts come in, and, she starts purring, as that's when she realizes, and she tries to attack Issei, but, Issei catches that hand. He was like, it's fine, your sister's not coming after you. As she says, what? As that's when a portal opens up, and Issei says, you're here. As the the dragon goddess Ophis comes out, and he says, Issei, Guan Yin, long time no see. As Issei, says, yo, as Volley, who is at the side of Azazel, and says, what? How do you know them? As Orpheus says, Volley, let's go. As Volley says, no, I must fight the Red Dragon Emperor. As Orpheus is severely angered by this, as he says, Volley, if you lay even a finger on this close friend of mine's, I'll kill you. As Volley felt tremendous pressure and fear when he heard those words come out her mouth. As he says, fine. As he proceeds to leave with Ophis, as Ophis says, well, we'll be leaving now. As Konoko's sister comes out, as Ophis says she would like to talk to her sister, as Issei says she has more than enough time to talk to her sister. Let her. As she runs to her sister, as basically, her sister, Konoko's sister, hugs her and says, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? And she looks at Issei and she sighs in relief knowing that Issei was there, and she hugs Issei, crying, saying thank you for protecting her. As Issei said, it's no problem, even though I wasn't there for long, I still protected her spiritually. As Konoko says, what do you mean? As that's when Kuan Yin says, well, there were a lot of times where, demonic spirits, souls, many more things, mostly the vengeful spirits that your sister has killed, have tried to come after you and kill you. Since they were much stronger than you, they were able to hide their, presence and could, harm you physically and mentally and psychopathically. But thanks to Issei, they haven't touched a single hair on you. As Konoko looks up at Issei, I'm pissed. God damn, who the hell is dying, bro? Yo, can you die somewhere else, bro? Go die somewhere else. If your house is on fire, go burn another house, but not here. Pissing me off, bro. Loud as hell. As basically, yeah, my mood can change real fast. You'll get used to it if you're new here. So, anyways, Issei does that. So, as Issei does that, he proceeds to go to Kiba, and he pats him on the back, saying, thanks, man. As Kiba, he smirks and says, no problem. As he looks at Rias in disgust, and he says, I'm not mad at you, nor do I hate you, but you're unforgivable. As Akano says, Issei, as Issei looks at Akano, not in disgust, but pity, as she says, you're too gullible. Go back to your father. As she says, no, I won't go back to him. He's the reason my mother's dead. As Issei says, he is not the reason why your mother is dead. Your father was busy protecting your whole civilization. It's not his fault. He was not the only one that was trying to protect your civilization. There were many. Of course some would get near you. Why are you so mad because your parents died? There have been angels, demons, even gods who have lost their parents. Yet they still hold a happy demeanor. And yet you shallow yourself with hatred and sorrow because of your dead mother. Yet you can't accept the truth that the world isn't all shits and giggles. As basically, Nakano, hearing this speech, is not talk no jutsu, but she finally realizes that she has been an ass of a daughter. Like a complete piece of trash. As basically, she finally realizes that it wasn't her dad's fault she died. It wasn't anyone's fault she died. As she then realized that this is just how the world works. As Michael says, so how do you plan to fix everything? Issei, he says, Michael, I plan to fix nothing. Everything in the world moves at a flow of its own. And God, he never died. In this one, God never died. Let's just say he just, not moved on to this world. As Michael says, what? As he says, as Issei, he smirks, a funny ass smirk, and he says, that old man's been watching you from the start, and let me say, he's proud of you. But you're too impulsive when it comes to your anger. As Michael says, he's as right as ever. As Michael says, is there anything you need me to do? As Issei says, nope, not at all. Just continue doing what you need to do. You've been doing a good job lately. You've been doing a good job ever since he left. As basically, he says, alright, as he then looks at, Konoko and her sister, and he says, you two should go somewhere, alone, as he snaps his finger, and basically, they're teleported aboard the ship, as Konoko's thinking she's about to get attacked, but to her surprise, she's actually welcomed, nicely by, Biko, Arthur, and stuff like that, as basically, yeah, Arthur, he's still stuck up, but he's chilled down a little bit. He's a little nicer, not too stern and stuff like that. And Ophis is nicer because in this one, Issei actually created not a space, but a place for her to actually call home, kind of like that space where Big Red is. So she's not worried, and she says okay. So she's settled in there. She enjoys her time in there and stuff like that, and it's an infinite amount of space in which she can create anything she wishes. So she finds it much better than her old home. So she's just chilling. As basically, everybody's celebrating and stuff like that, and it's not really a loud place. So if he made sure that if you're inside of the ship and stuff like that, you'll hear anything inside the ship, but if you're not outside the ship, you won't be disturbed by it because, everything outside the ship is just quiet. Since there really isn't air outside in space, so no noise can be heard. So, yeah, that's kind of how it is. That's how stuff stands, as basically, Ray was imprisoned in, the underworld. Just ahead, his body was burnt, destroyed. Ray felt the pain. He's stuck there for eternities and eternities to come, as Rias will never be the next, Lucifer. As a matter of fact, her relationship with her family is, not that close. It's not that close. She was forgiven, but the relationship is still not that close due to how she almost ruined the family due to her terrible judgment and leadership. As Akano, she finally went back to her dad and heard the full story and stuff like that. And she forgave her dad, and her dad forgave her for, she did. And she finally understood that, oh shit, my god. So yeah, after learning how to be a good doctor, Akano went back to Issei and apologized for her actions and shit like that. Konoko stayed with her sister, willingly this time, since, the barrage was disbanded. Kiba went with Issei to, discover, the far reaches of, the universe and shit. So, yeah. It's kind of how shit stands right now. He visits, the old members of the Barrage, from time to time and stuff like that. And, him and Kuan Yin finally have, a son. And, yeah. And they call him Isuki Yin. And basically, that's kind of how it stood. That's how it went. So, Yeah. And he's as powerful as his dad. Now, he didn't reach the level of, well, supreme heavenly entity like his father did. A few million years after he was born, but still, he did receive the title of supreme entity, because heavenly entity. And yeah, that's kind of how it is. So that's the end of what if Issei was betrayed. I'll probably get ready for my other what ifs, who knows.